all, Cole here, a spirit, a soul having a human experience that happens to be transgender. What's going on? Okay, so I just walked out of the grocery store, and mind you, I am in LA. I'm not in like Bismarck, Missouri. Yeah, I called you out, Bismarck. Had some issues there years ago. Anyway, you know, how do I word this? I wanted to share this with everybody. So nothing super terrible happened as far as being trans in public. But, okay, here's the deal. A lot of people have gotten aggravated with me over the years. Like, why do you care so much that you're trans and nobody really cares that much and this and that, and you're making a big deal about it. Let me tell you why trans people, I'll speak for myself, make such a big deal about being trans and how it can be difficult. A simple trip to the grocery store, okay? People don't think about their gender when you go to the grocery store. What the hell does gender have to do with going to the grocery store? Well, it's just like gender has everything to do with anything and everything in this life, in this reality. Another something that I noticed walking out too of the grocery store after having this little thing happen that I'll share with you is that you know, being transgender sometimes to me reminds me of being spiritually woken up and my third eye opening, because anybody that has started the waking up process, I believe, will tell you, and I've heard this from so many people, I've read this, I've seen videos about this, where it can be very frustrating to be awake in a sleeping world. And you know, there's a lot of people that say, oh, I'm woke. And then you like listen to them talk for a while and you're like, dude, you're not. So I don't like the term woke. Like, I don't walk around being like, I'm woke, you know? It's like, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. My pineal gland has decalcified and is started to open up, and my consciousness has expanded. Okay, that is the true waking up process. And when your consciousness expands and you start to see past the veil of this reality of the third dimension, so to say, the 3D, the third dimensional reality, it's a very low density. And that's a big reason why there's just so much corruption and lies and deceit and greed. It's a very low vibrational existence, okay? So I'm walking out of the grocery store and I'm like, man, I feel like this guy kind of like laughed at me for basically saying that I'm a he. This older, just very unaware security guard. I mean, I guess he was aware of being secure. He had the door on lock, but as far as the rest of the world, I don't know how aware he is, but I guess I should just tell you what happened. So, again, it wasn't like the worst deal. It wasn't like complete bigotry or terribleness that, you know, that some of us have, we have faced much worse things than what happened to me. But I'm minding my own business. I'm shopping for groceries. And as I'm leaving, this lady almost hit me with her cart, like hit my cart, because they're having, like, in LA, everything's still pretty much on lockdown. Like, we still have to wear masks when we're in the stores. They're like, you know, come in a certain way, leave a certain way. You know, like, there's little, like, arrows on the ground. Like, everything's very weird and very just made up as you go along. It's like, oh, okay, there's these new rules, and oh, I have to grab that cart over there because there's none in the store, and what's happening. So, okay. So this guy is like leading the way for us. And he told the lady, oh, turn around. You almost hit her. Or no, excuse me. He said, excuse me. From a distance, he said, you almost hit him. I had a mask on. Okay. And I'm wearing like a t-shirt and some baggy gym shorts. Well, I still have the chest going on. And when I got closer, he goes, oh, I'm sorry. Her cart. And something in me said, something in me told me to say, oh, well, you wouldn't be wrong about sir. And then when I said that, as I'm walking away, I heard him go, yeah. And there was a little triggered moment for me, you know, because I can't tell you how many times in the past almost 20 years that I have told people that I identify as male, and they've just like laughed at me. I've had people tell me you're a female, get over yourself. Like, you're just like making things up. Oh, you just wish you were a guy. It's like, that's not how it works. It's not, I understand their perspective. Oh, sorry, my finger got in the shot. I understand their perspective, but they're wrong. So it is ignorant. It's ignorant to tell somebody that they're not experiencing something when they're explaining it to you. And I think as trans people, as especially, I guess this could go for many things and many categories, but from my experiences of being a transgender person, especially a trans person who has not done any transitioning. The only transitioning that I've done that's official is, as far as the outside world is concerned, is dressing in masculine and men's clothing. That's what I've been doing for almost 2 decades. And even as a kid, I did it a lot. But so it's like people see me as a female because they see boobs, and then there you go. And with a mask on, they can, without a mask, they can see that my face is smooth, and I was born female. But that's the thing, is being transgender, it's a very real thing, to where you don't match your outside body. And I used to think that was the craziest thing I ever heard, until I started studying quantum physics, metaphysics, and spirituality, and realized that being transgender is just one of the very small, bizarre things in this multiverse that is possible. Like, it just gets so much weirder and cooler, really, when you realize how bendable reality is, when you can play with it, when you're not like such a trapped victim of life, oh, things are happening to me. No, things are happening for you to experience. And anyway, that's another video, a video within a video. So this video was, I didn't even really say exactly what this video is going to be about, but it was kind of just like perspective. My perspective, when I walked out of the grocery store, I kind of wrapped, back to what I was saying, I wrapped the two subjects together, being transgender and also being awake, so to say, in this matrix. Sorry about the shaky camera. I got to bring my stand next time. This was a spontaneous video. I did not expect to make it. I just had to go to the grocery store. When I combined the thought of being trans in this society and also being awake in this society, I thought, this is much like how I felt like I had to come out of a spiritual closet and admit these things were going on with me, on a psychic level, with clairvoyance, and all these things were going on. And just like I had to come out and say all these things were going on with me, I have always felt like a male in a female body since preschool. And it's just gotten more intense as the years gone by. There's never been a time where I did not identify as a male my entire life. Okay? So all these closets, all this, I thought, man, there's really like a theme in my life going on with feeling misunderstood, with feeling like the outside world doesn't understand. And it's just very interesting, and it's something to work through. I just thought, as much as people will laugh at me saying, no, I am a guy. Oh, yeah, right. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, no, yeah, that trans stuff, yeah. Oh, the trans stuff you just heard about a year ago because of like Caitlyn Jenner. It's not just trans stuff. Some people think that we're just making it up. They do. And I mean, all I can see is how unevolved these people are, and where their consciousness is at. Because anyone who's consciously woke up to this matrix, to what all this really is, to the fact that we really are souls in flesh suits, it's going to understand that somebody can be transgender. It goes beyond people's religious beliefs to where people just like are listening to old science, like when they called us all mentally ill and put it in as a mental illness. They've changed that. They've come back in and said it's not, and there's people still saying, oh, you're mentally ill. I'm like, I don't know if I'd be functioning in life where I'm at if I was super mentally ill, but thanks, I think I'm okay. Anyway, So yeah, wrapping it all back up there. Just knowing that this guy, the security guard, when I was walking out, just kind of laughed at me saying, no, I am a guy. And then I hear myself saying, no, I am a guy, in my little voice. And it's weird as an empath, because as an empath, you literally take on people's emotions unless you properly ground and protect yourself. And even then, like, you could still feel it. And I just could feel, I could feel his soul when he laughed, and when he, like, I can feel when people aren't taking me seriously, and I can feel it to my core, and it's like, oh, ick, it's not a very good feeling, but it's also a blessing to know, who I can trust, who I can share with and open myself up with, and coming to terms with as a trans person that there's going to be a lot of people that don't want to, like, take you seriously. And instead of getting upset about it, I just do my best. I do this a lot. That seems to help. Instead of getting upset about it, I've been doing my best to alchemize that anger. Like I've talked like a year ago in those videos about alchemy, alchemy, turning one thing into another, turning my anger and focusing it on thankfulness for being conscious enough, awake enough, kind enough from my heart space to realize that there are lots of different types of people out there. To open myself up to that, different cultures, people wired differently, people that feel like a male in a female body, people that feel like a female in a male body. Like it's totally possible. And recognizing that as much as it upsets me that people don't think that I'm real, it's just as wonderful to realize that I'm not in that space. It's like a gratitude thing. Well, I mean, that sucks that they don't think I'm real, but man, I'm grateful to, like, be in this space in life to where not only do I know that I'm real, I'm really here. I'm going to pinch myself. Not only do I know that I'm real, but I know that all the other LGBTQ, transgender folks, what they're feeling is real, and that it's not a shameful thing. I was brought up to believe in the church I was in that being LGBTQ is not okay. Well, I'm glad to know it is. It is okay to be yourself. Just gratitude for expanding consciousness and expanding my mind, opening up my mind to things that are different than what's considered the norm. And I tell you, once you start traveling out to opening up your mind, what the norm is in society will definitely start to get super weird, and you'll be like, you know what? Or you may just be like, you know what? I'm really not okay with the norm. They're not okay with me. You know what? I'm really not okay with them. I'm not okay with them not being okay with things that aren't exactly the cookie cutter version of what they are. All right. Well, all right then. So long story long, I guess the lesson for me today was just really patience. And I get really disheartened sometimes about how asleep most people are. Just with everything that people do, with like watching the TV shows and like eating the genetically modified foods and not taking care of themselves. And like, it pains my soul. And I know that a lot of the people, like, I go out to the grocery store and they're not consciously awake to the deception going on in this world and the corruption. And it breaks my heart a little bit. But over time, I've had to just say, it's like to each their own. Everybody has free will and choice. And I went off and started researching and studying things and learned things, and my mind started to expand because of it. And that was a conscious choice I made, and I'm blessed that I did. Some days I'm like, how the heck did where did this even start? And for me, it's started with realizing that the food supply, especially in the United States, is extremely corrupted. I was a cook for many years in a restaurant and was always surrounded by food, and just realized how many things were pre-packaged and just genetically modified. And so that's where it all kind of started for me. And then it expanded from there to the point of like law of attraction, to the point of holographic realities, to the point of quantum physics, stuff like that. So it's all a free will and choice to what we study and believe. And if people aren't going to take the time to research what's it like to be transgender, if they don't care, if they don't think it's real, if people don't take the time to research what's going on around them in this world, if they don't care, if they don't think it's real. A lot of people don't believe it's real. A lot of people don't think that there is corruption. There's all different perspectives out there. So just my best advice is to, and what I've been doing is just resonating, going toward what I believe with my whole heart. Working from your heart space is always the best place. I send you much love, much light, and to all my trans folks out there, and to parents, loved ones of trans folks, I love you all. We're going to stay strong out there. You know, the movement of normalcy, of us just being ourselves in public, we are moving forward with that. So as much as we're still dealing with a lot of hatred and bigotry, I want to remind everyone we are making progress. I know I sure as heck couldn't just go into like a workplace 15 years ago and be like, I'm transgender and have protected rights. Like, thank God out here in California, people are. So let's continue with that, make it the rest of the country, the rest of the world. I love you all. Many blessings, much love. I'll see you next time.